Okay, let's dive right into this. We need to talk about that chaotic moment when intense romantic fixations or sudden sexual urges just hit you out of nowhere. One minute you're fine, the next, your brain gets completely hijacked. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down the psychological reality of the 4 stages of lust and exactly why most people get tragically stuck at stage 2.
Look at this quote. Yep, I'm about to be weird about this person. Have you ever had that exact thought? You literally just met someone. You do not even know their middle name, but suddenly they're living rent-free in your head. Your brain switches into obsession mode out of nowhere, and just hearing their name gives you a jolt. It feels exhilarating, but high-key, it feels completely out of your control.
But before you spiral into shame or start thinking you're broken, here is the truth. That's just lust. Plot twist, you aren't actually losing your mind, and it's not a magical sign from the universe. It is literally just your nervous system getting overstimulated and acting up. Your brain wants a dopamine hit, it found a target, and it is firing on all cylinders. That is it. It's totally normal, and there's nothing to be ashamed of.
But here's the thing. Lust is not just one random emotion. It is a highly predictable biological sequence. Here is our roadmap. Stage 1 is initial attraction. Stage 2 is infatuation. Stage 3 is climax, and stage 4 is clarity. Failing to understand these stages is exactly how you end up confusing a nervous system spike with genuine compatibility.
So let's look at stage 1, initial attraction. This is the exact moment the urge hits. Your attention locks onto their vibe, their voice, maybe just the way they laugh. Notice how purely physical this actually is. Warmer body temperature, hyper-alertness, a sudden spike in energy, and an intense fixation on just getting closer. Your body reacts way before your logic even boots up. But listen to me, this just means your brain found something novel and stimulating. It does not mean you found the one. It means your dopamine receptors are waking up.
Let's be real for a sec. Because that initial spike is so blinding, you have to ask yourself this brutal question. Am I attracted to who they actually are, or to the image I just created of them in my head? The fantasy, the escapism, that is what usually drives us. Your brain loves to turn a stranger into emotional comfort food.
Which drags us right into stage 2, infatuation.
If stage 1 was the spark, stage 2 is the absolute blaze. Infatuation is a purely dopamine-fueled state. Your brain gets completely wired to fixate on the uncertainty, the chase, and the sheer possibility of this new person. You aren't just crushing, you are biologically addicted to the stimulation. Every interaction is a fix, and you are literally chasing a high. And here's where the brain rot really sets in. Replaying totally normal, boring conversations. Rereading old messages at 2 a.m. Decoding their tone like you're hacking secret government files. You view a simple "hey" as a huge green light, and you treat a late reply like the literal end of the world. You are down bad because your anxiety and your desire are looping into one giant knot of overthinking.
Look at this breakdown, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The person you are falling for right now, it is 50% the actual human being and 50% your brain just being highly, highly creative. You are low-key delusional here. Infatuation hates empty space, so it fills in the blanks. You project all your hopes onto them, assuming their intentions based on basically zero actual data.
And then we hit stage 3, climax.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that it's the absolute peak of emotional and physical chaos. Your boundaries just evaporate, the brain stops caring about long-term compatibility because it urgently, desperately wants relief from all that built-up tension and uncertainty. So what do? You ignore painfully clear red flags, you rationalize totally unacceptable behavior, and you prioritize their validation over your own core values.
Stop, right here. Interrupt the chaos and ask yourself, am I choosing this person, or am I just reacting to the blinding intensity of wanting them? This is the emotional trap. If it's a one-sided climax, or you're just using them as an emotional escape hatch from your own boredom or loneliness, you are going to end up profoundly anxious, emotionally off balance, and dangerously attached to an illusion.
Here's the kicker. Eventually, you hit stage 4, clarity. The chemical high always crashes. The adrenaline fog lifts, the dopamine settles, and you finally step out of the matrix. This is the sobering moment you look at them without the fantasy filter. You notice their real communication style. You observe how they actually handle conflict. You check if their actions match their words, and you gauge if your nervous system finally feels emotionally regulated around them. Sometimes this brings a harsh disappointment. Other times, it brings actual grounded connection.
This draws the ultimate line in the sand. On one side, you have lust. You are being yanked around by desire, intense adrenaline, and a made-up fantasy. On the other side, clarity. Choosing to stay, finding emotional safety, and experiencing actual real-life intimacy. Lust is just your nervous system throwing a party, but clarity is you making an empowered, conscious choice.
To sum it up perfectly, knowing the difference can save you a lot of emotional whiplash. Understanding these 4 stages isn't about shaming yourself for getting randomly obsessed or feeling intense urges. It's about recognizing the biology behind the chaos. When you stop letting dopamine drag you around by the collar, you finally get the power to build real, safe, and thrilling connections.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought for today's explainer. Be brutally honest with yourself. Which stage of lust surprised you the most, and are you painfully stuck in one of them right now? It's time to wake up, look at the science, and take your brain back. Thanks for exploring this with me, and I'll catch you next time.